Trevs Review Show here on Trev TV. Been a while since I've done one of these. I'm the Trev. Sweet. Anyway, in an effort to help boost the content on this channel, I'm going back to doing what I used to do on a regular basis. Anything and everything. So, I haven't done an album review in a very long time. I think my last album review was Birdsome. So today I'm going to go a little more on the well-known path. I'm going to go in my CD collection and talk about Facelift from Alice in Chains. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. It's a bit of history lesson for you. Facelift was released on Columbia Records on August 21st, 1990. It was certified gold September 11th, 1991. It peaked at number 42 on Billboard 200 and basically kept them, I guess, in line for a good push after this album cycle was done, because after this one was done, they got a little more different, a little more better. Of note, Layne Staley's vocals are not layered on this record, which, if you start off with, say, Dirt first over Facelift, you're going to notice the change, and you might not like it. You might not even think of anything of it, but for me, when I noticed the vocals weren't layered on this record, it took a bit to grow on me, because I did start off with a different record when it came to Alice in Chains. I started off with self-titled and went backwards. But either way, let's go over track by track and give you what I think of this record. It's the first single off this album, and the first track on this album is We Die Young, and what a way to open the record. I mean, it's very riffy, it's very heavy, and it flows very nicely. I would love to play you a snippet, but I get a copyright claim, and I've gotten a couple off different reviews, so I'm going to avoid all that. Either way, a great song to start off a first album with, and it basically set their tone moving forward, that albums are going to start off heavy. Second single, second song, and probably the most well-known song off this album because of how radio-friendly it got. Man in the Box. You can't obviously think Facelift without thinking this song, and having a voice box in the record on the song was a nice touch. Again, very Jerry Cantrell riffy, but this is all lyrically Layne Staley. Most of the songs were written by Jerry, but Staley contributed a lot of his own. I mean, the first record he only wrote 5 lyrically, but obviously one of his better written songs lyrically. And from what I hear, from what I've read, he was stoned as fuck when he wrote the lyrics, so it's what you get. Otherwise, it's still a really good tune. It's a nice, typical grunge song. It's not your soft heavy. It's rock heavy, or rock soft, rock heavy. It follows the formula, but it keeps you interested. Third single, third song, Sea of Sorrow. It's nothing I'd write home about. I mean, I don't often skip it. I usually do include it on my playlist. For the record, I dock off points for every one that I skip. It's a good follow-up. It's a good song to keep the album relevant. But other than that, it's a good filler. And that's the thing about a lot of albums I've listened to, is there's a lot of filler in a lot of them. But it's still a good tune. It's something you can definitely rock out to and not feel bad about it. Again, not one I always skip. Sometimes I do, but not often. Last single, fourth song, Bleed the Freak. I've always thought of this as kind of like a power stance song myself. Just lyrically, it tells a whole bunch of different tales, but ultimately the one you choose on, the one you interpret, is the one you go with. And yes, this one does stay on all my Alice in Chains playlists. Again, very Cantrell riffy. So you have to kind of expect that, being Jerry is really, really good at guitar. I can't remember. No, you have to remember this album came out in 90. The 80s was all about the power ballad. And this is a good first attempt at a power ballad. Unfortunately, I don't think it's that great a tune. I often skip it. I don't remember the last time I sat down and listened to it outside of when I had a tape player and not a CD player. But it doesn't hurt the album, but it's not the best power ballad. That's coming. I did say there were better power ballads coming. And this is probably the most underappreciated song on the album. Love, Hate, Love. It's it tells a really good story. And it flows so nicely. I think musically, it's probably some of the best guitar Jerry's ever written, just because it flows so well. Like I said, an underrated tune, and should have got a lot more exposure than what it did. I mean, it could have been a really good single, but not my favorite on the album, but definitely in the top three. I'll give it that. Song number 7, It Ain't Like That. For your tape player, this is side B. And this is a good example of keeping momentum going. I mean, it takes a lot from the first 6 songs and keeps the momentum in the same place. That way you're going, if you're flipping on the tape, you're going from a power ballad to a jumpy rock song. And it works out well for the album. I mean, it's not always on my playlist, but it's not far from it. Song number 8, Sunshine. Not the dog. This song was written by Jerry in memory of his mother. Yes, the Tripod album, the dog's name is Sunshine. So easy to get that confused. This is a nice mid-tempo song with a very crunchy chorus, which I love. I absolutely love it. This would be another top 3 song for me on this album. I just can't say enough good things about it. The way Layne can carry his vocals with Jerry's guitar in the background, the solos he put on this, amazing tune. Next song is Put You Down. And I'll admit, this is one I skip a lot. But it is a nice punchy tune. I mean, it's another one of those ones where it tries to pick up the pace a little bit more without getting too fast or too heavy. And again, I skip it too much to actually give it a good opinion about it. But it's not a bad tune from what I can remember of it. Song number 10, Confusion. Again, back to the power ballads, because you have to have at least one. In this case, this is your third. And again, not the best power ballad. That train already skipped us. As such, again, I skip it. So I can't really say anything bad or good about it. Song 11, I Know Something About You. Again, another jumpy, fast-paced song. It almost feels like it has, well, I don't want to insult it in any way. I feel like its intentions are good, but as far as being anything other than known as a filler, it misses the mark. But again, it's a first record. You can't expect them to hit home runs all the time, right? And yes, I do skip that one too. And when they end the album with probably my favorite track from the album, Real Thing. You wouldn't associate a song about rehab being a favorite, but this one has a nice flow, has a nice melody. It goes from like a blues rock kind of sound and rhythm to a punchy, what became grunge sound. And it works well. Layne's storytelling on the vocals are an amazing thing. And this would have been one of those songs that would have benefited from him layering, but a lot of songs in this album would have. Either way, one of my favorite tracks, and I can't not go without listening to Alice in Chains without this being one of the songs I do listen to. So having said that, it's the last song of the album. Let's give you my thoughts. So overall, coming in just over 54 minutes by 2 seconds. It's not a bad record for a first record. I mean, it's produced by Dave Jordan, and really, most first records for a lot of bands are finding themselves records, and this is not a bad attempt at finding themselves. And as far as Alice in Chains records goes, even though it is just the first, it's still good, and they're still better. So what would I give this album out of 5 based on my star rating and my point docs for skipping tunes? Well, here we go. 12 songs on the record. I skip consistently 1, 2, 5 songs out of 12. Overall, if I'm going to give it a star rating, I'm giving it a 3.5. Yeah, there is much of it that I do skip, but the songs that are there and the songs that I remember growing up with have never changed and have never made me feel any different. They're still good songs. It's still a good record, but it is still a first record, and they didn't do bad at all. Again, they do better, and we will talk about it at some point. So in my overall album review ratings, there's where it sits. Yeah, I need to do more albums. More album reviews, that is. So that's another one of Trev's review shows here on Trev TV. Well, thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you're here. That just means to me you want to hear more album reviews, and I'll definitely give you more. I got a lot of CDs to go from. So be advised, there'll be more album reviews coming, and I need to build that list. But either way, since you're here, if you liked it, hit that like. If you want to, at the same time, hit that subscribe button. That red one that says subscribe on it. You know you want to. You know I want you to. And we need to catch up to the Hockey Channel. It's at 77 now. We're 22 behind. So let's make it happen. Let's catch up. Let's get to 100 at the same time. All my socials, they're in the description down below. So moving forward, as far as Alice in Chains records is concerned, I've only got 2 more to review because I have not listened to any William Duvall Alice in Chains. So as far as Alice in Chains goes, Dirt's next. As far as my next album, I don't know. There's a lot to choose from. I got a big CD collection, so either way, in the meantime, and in between time, be looking for more videos from the Trev. Later.